So quiet.
I love your art collection.
Entirely Plymouth's doing.
My compliments. Did she paint those?
Yeah, all of the artwork in here is Plymouth. It's like covering 2 whole walls.
Oh wow, nice.
So, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Sarah, I've been informed that we are live.
Okay, thank you. And Madeline?
Yes.
Which of our commissioners are on board?
We have Commissioner Madden, Commissioner Vice Chair Harmon. We have Commissioner Lethen.
Okay.
Commissioner Morgan. believe we are waiting for Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. We'll wait another minute or two. There we go. I guess Mary Lou's going to have to catch up with us. Everyone ready to start? All right. Good evening and welcome to the February 16th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting. To all of you attending virtually, thank you for joining us. Please know that we want to hear from you. If you're in the audience and you would like to address the Commission during the public comment for an item on the agenda, there are two options. For those of you using Zoom, please use the raise your hand button at the bottom of your screen. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and given 3 minutes to address the Commission. If you are joining us by telephone, you may address the Commission by pressing *9, and when it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and given 3 minutes to address the Commission. Please note you may only speak once per item agenda. Okay, Pamela, roll call, please.
Chair Biasotti,
Here.
Vice Chair Harmon,
Here.
Commissioner Lethen,
Here.
Commissioner Madden,
Here.
Commissioner Morgan,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson,
Okay.
you have 5. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Madeline, can we have the flag, please? And Commissioner Harmon, would you be so kind as to lead us in the pledge?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to item 1. Approval of minutes for January 19th, 2021. Anyone have comments or a motion?
I move to approve the minutes.
Do we have a second? Was that again from Commissioner Madden?
Yes, seconded.
Thank you very much. Okay, can Pamela, roll call vote, please.
Chair Biasotti,
Aye.
Vice Chair Harmon,
Aye.
Commissioner Lethen,
Aye.
Commissioner Madden,
Aye.
Commissioner Morgan,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson. 5-0. Minutes pass.
Thank you very much. Item 2, public comments for items not on the agenda. This is the opportunity for folks at home to address the Commission for things not on the agenda this evening. Do we have any hands raised?
Through the chair, I think we may have 1 more minutes to approve from February 2nd.
Do we? Okay. I didn't see that on my agenda. I just have January 19th. Pamela, could you clarify that, please?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Lethen is accurate that it's included in the packet, but it's not on the agenda. So we'll include it for the next agenda as well. It's not published on the agenda.
So we should skip that for this evening, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, very good. Back to item 2, public comments on items not on the agenda. Madeline, did we have any hands raised?
There are no hands raised.
Okay, fine. Then we'll move to conflicts of interest, item 3. Are there commissioners with conflicts? Commissioner Harmon?
I am conflicted out of the Bay Hill conversation due to being married to an employee of a company with facilities in Bay Hill, and I am conflicted out of the second item on the parking due to living too close to it. So I will be basically out of the entire rest of this meeting.
Thank you for joining us. Commissioner Morgan.
I will be out of the Bay Hill conversation because of the closeness to my residence.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. Are there any others? No. Okay. Item 4, public hearings. Item 4A is a draft environmental report for the Bay Hill specific plan, including YouTube Phase 1 development. Staff vote. I see the city attorney has his hand raised.
Sure. I might suggest that you take the two items out of order on the chance that Planning Commissioner Johnson might attend. It would be helpful to have as many commissioners as possible for the EIR comment section, although I will say that even if Commissioner Johnson does not make it, because this is only a meeting or a hearing to receive comments from members of the public, you can still go ahead and do that even if there are fewer than 4 planning commissioners who are present. There is no action that's proposed to be taken by the Planning Commission, and if there are members of the audience who do wish to comment, you can take all of those comments, even though there are only 3 commissioners participating in this as opposed to 4. But if you take them out of order, then there's a chance that Commissioner Johnson may be able to attend.
Okay, so do we have to do anything special in order to skip to item B, or should we just go ahead?
Just go right to that if you'd like.
Okay, very
Mr. Chair, I believe you will have to bring Commissioner Morgan back in the room.
Okay, can we do that, please? Commissioner Morgan, welcome back. Okay, we're going to move on to item 4B. So thank you for joining us. 4B is a temporary use permit at a city parking lot. And this is a recommended environmental determination. And can we have a staff report, please?
We are bringing staff into the room now, Chair Busodi.
Thank you very much.
David, go ahead and make your presentation.
Right, good evening, members of the Planning Commission. The city has a capital improvement project currently under design to replace the sewer and water mains within the neighborhood bounded by San Mateo Avenue, Keynes Avenue, Sylvan Avenue, and El Camino Real. As part of the design process and due to utility conflicts between the existing PG&E gas line and proposed new water main on Angus Avenue West between El Camino Real and San Mateo Avenue, the city has requested and is requiring that PG&E relocate their gas main on Angus Avenue West. The gas main is currently located on the south side of the roadway and will be relocated to the north side. In order for PG&E to complete this work and minimize impacts to the nearby residents, they are requesting a temporary use permit for them to stage their construction equipment and materials. The temporary use permit will be in effect for approximately 3 months until the end of May, and 6 parking spaces located at the northwestern corner of the lot will be utilized by PG&E. The remaining approximately 30 parking spaces in that lot will remain open for public use. On-site parking lot circulation and ingress-egress will remain and function as it currently does, and as part of the conditions of approval for utilizing this parking lot for temporary use by PG&E, they are being required to maintain the parking lot in clean and orderly fashion and will provide traffic control with flaggers as necessary. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve this temporary use permit based on the findings that the construction staging area will have minimal negative effects to the surrounding neighborhood and is consistent with the general plan, as this request would support the construction of and ensure that all San Bruno residences and businesses have adequate water supply.
Okay. Was that the completion of your report, David?
Yes, Chair Casati.
Thank you very much. Is there any other staff report on this, or is that it?
Mr. Chair, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Does our commission have any questions for staff? Commissioner Madden?
Would it be possible to see like a map or where this is?
So if you go to your agenda packet, it is attachment A. It's located on Angus Avenue, and across the street is Eastern Avenue. So page 6 of 8 of this staff report 4B.
Okay, I see it in the packet. Okay, thank you.
Did we have any other questions for staff? No? Okay. So we'll open up to the public. Once again, for Zoom users, use the raise your hand button. For those of you on the phone, please use *9. Madeline, do we have anybody with their hands up?
We have no hands up, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Can we get a roll call vote to close public comment, please? Emma, would you mind assisting us with that?
Chair Biasotti?
Aye.
Commissioner Lithin?
Aye.
Commissioner Madden?
Aye.
Commissioner Morgan?
Aye.
Vice Chair Harmon is recused. Commissioner Johnson? Four to zero. Motion passes.
Okay. So at this point, we'll bring it back to the commission and ask for comments or discussion or a roll call or a motion and a vote. What would be your pleasure? Anyone want to make a motion or ask a question?
I'll go ahead and make a motion if nobody else has a question. Okay. I motion that we approve temporary use permit 21-001 based on findings 1 through 3 and conditions of approval 1 through 14.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Madeline, would you give us a hand with the roll call, please?
Chair Biasotti?
Aye.
Commissioner Lithin?
Aye.
Commissioner Madden?
Aye.
Commissioner Morgan?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson? Vice Chair Harmon is recused. 4-0, motion passes.
Thank you very much. Madeline, has Commissioner Johnson showed up yet? Madeline, has Commissioner Johnson showed up yet?
I'm sorry, I was still on mute. No, Commissioner Johnson is not in the attendee room.
Okay. So, question for the city attorney. Is it okay to move ahead then with item 4A?
Yes, it is. As I indicated before, the Brown Act does require a quorum for meetings, but if the remainder of the meeting is merely going to be to receive public staff report and public commentary on the EIR, you can certainly do that. And then with respect to any other items of business on the agenda, you'll have a quorum for those because there will be at least 4 members to take action if there are any other items. I don't think there are, but maybe aside from appointing the Architectural Review Board, but you should be able to do that.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
You bet.
We'll move on to item 4A, the draft environmental report for the Bacon-specific plan.
Mr. Chair, sorry for the back and forth, but we have to recuse Commissioner Morgan again.
Yes, sorry.
All right, you're good to go.
I can still, is he still?
Okay, he's still here. Madeline, are you able to
There he goes.
Okay. All right. Item 4A. It's the draft environmental impact report for the Bay Hill specific plan, including YouTube Phase 1 development. And if we can have a staff report, please.
Of course. Can you see the presentation? We're good to go? All right. Good evening, Chair Biasotti, members of Planning Commission. My name is Pamela Wu, and I am the city's Community and Economic Development Director. With me tonight is the wonderful Bay Hill team, and we're here to present you the draft EIR that's prepared for the Bay Hill specific plan and also the Phase 1 development. The agenda for tonight will start with the objective for today's meeting. I will have a brief introduction of the Bay Hill team that includes the city staff in addition to the consultant that has been diligently working on the project. We will provide you a background on the Bay Hill specific plan itself in addition to the Phase 1 development. I will turn the floor then to the EIR consultant for her to walk you through the steps of the EIR that has taken place. And I will conclude tonight's presentation with next steps and questions that you may have. The objective. As stated in the staff report, the Planning Commission tonight is to hold a public hearing to receive public comments regarding the draft EIR that was prepared for the Bay Hill specific plan in addition to the Phase 1 development. The public review period opened up in January and will conclude on March 1st, 2021. Comments received tonight, in addition to comments that received during the public review period, will be responded in the final EIR and included with other documents. It will not be discussed or responded tonight. I have the pleasure to introduce you the Bay Hill team. In addition to myself, Matthew Neubaumer, City Associate Planner, Mark Zaffarano, City Attorney, Heidi Mackelson, Principal with ICF, who is our wonderful EIR consultant, in addition to Elaine Costello and Dan Marks from Management Partners. These folks have been working on the project since 2017. A little background on the Bay Hill specific plan itself. The Bay Hill specific plan started in 2017 when the YouTube company proposed to construct additional office building in the Bay Hill Office Park area. The plan area itself comprises approximately 92.2 acres and is largely bounded by Interstate 280, 380, El Camino, and San Bruno. Once adopted, the specific plan will guide future development for the plan area in the next 20 years. This slide shows you the geographic location of the specific plan. As I mentioned earlier, the plan is bounded by El Camino on the east, 380 to the north, 280 to the west, and San Bruno Avenue to the south. What does the draft specific plan cover? It allows for 2.46 million square feet of additional regional office space. It also maintains the Bay Hill Shopping Center in addition to accommodate new or expanded hotel uses. With the housing overlay, it could have a potential of adding additional 573 multifamily housing units and also establish development and design standard for the planning area that will shape and enhance public ground that provides for transportation and infrastructure improvements. How does the plan get implemented? Once the plan is adopted, through the amended general plan in a new Bay Hill zoning district, there will be additional clarifying use classification and regulation to guide future development. In addition to the Bay Hill specific plan, the draft EIR also covers the Phase 1 development. Phase 1 development proposed to construct two 3-story buildings that has a total of 440,000 square feet of office space, 3 levels of underground parking on a surface parking lot adjacent to existing building at 900 and 1000 Cherry Avenue. It will also be realigning and straightening a Grundy Lane and create an off-street multimodal transportation hub for the YouTube employees. It will also redesign the Cherry Avenue Plaza at the corner of Cherry Avenue and Grundy Lane for public access. It will also demolish the buildings at 1150 to 1250 Bay Hill for a temporary parking site. This is a rendering that was previously released to the public showing the Phase 1 development. Now I'll turn the floor to Heidi. She can walk you through the process of the draft EIR.
Great. Thank you, Pamela. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, Pamela. Good evening, Chair Biasotti and Commissioners. Again, my name is Heidi Mickelson from ICF. I'm the project manager for the EIR. Tonight, I will be providing you with a basic overview of the draft EIR analysis and the process for reviewing and commenting on the draft EIR. The EIR process began in November of 2017 with the issuance of the Notice of Preparation. The NOP informed public agencies and the general public that an EIR would be prepared for the project and requested comments on the scope of the EIR. We received 4 comments on the NOP, and I apologize, there's a typo in the slide here. It says 5. It was actually 4, and all of those comments were from public agencies. We also held a public scoping meeting for the project back in the days when meetings were held in person. That was in December of 2017. We also issued a revised NOP in July of 2019, and the revised NOP noted some corrections to the project. Those included, or updates to the project, and those included corrections to the boundary of the specific plan area to exclude properties that were within the transit corridors plan. It also included new Phase 1 development improvements, including a transit hub and the realignment of Grundy Way. And it also included a new development agreement approval that would be requested by the Phase 1 development. We received 4 responses on the revised NOP, and again, those were all from public agencies. Next slide, please. The draft EIR evaluates the environmental impacts that could occur from build-out under the specific plan, including the Phase 1 development. The EIR includes 2 layers of analysis. The first is a program-level analysis of the specific plan. Program EIRs are prepared for a related series of actions that can be characterized as one project. They provide a comprehensive review of a conceptual project, and they can be used in the future to streamline future environmental review when specific projects come online. The second layer of the EIR analysis is a project-level review of the Phase 1 development that is based on the specific project characteristics of Phase 1 per the Phase 1 Precise Plan application that was filed with the city. Each impact evaluation in the EIR provides a conclusion for the specific plan and a conclusion for the Phase 1 development. And where mitigation measures are required, the EIR specifies whether the measure is applicable to any build-out under the specific plan, future phases not including Phase 1, or just the Phase 1 development. The intent behind this approach is to create a document that can be used to provide CEQA clearance for both the adoption of the specific plan and full entitlement of the Phase 1 development. Next slide, please. So as Pamela described, the specific plan permits the development of a variety of land uses, and different land uses generate different types of environmental impacts. So for example, office uses generate more traffic than residential uses, and residential uses generate more students than office uses. To ensure that the EIR fully disclosed the potential environmental impacts of any conceivable build-out scenario that could occur under the specific plan, we defined 2 different build-out scenarios for the program-level analysis of the specific plan, and those are the maximum office scenario and the maximum housing scenario shown here. These are intended really to be bookend scenarios that are at either end of the spectrum of what could conceivably be developed under the specific plan. They were created explicitly for purposes of the CEQA analysis. The actual build-out under the plan would likely be something in between these 2 scenarios. For each impact topic, the EIR evaluates the build-out scenario that would have the greater impact or the worst-case scenario. Let's see. Next slide, please. Thanks. The significant and unavoidable impacts that were identified in the EIR included air quality and transportation impacts for the specific plan. And the air quality impacts are with respect to increases in criteria air pollutants during construction and operation of the plan, and the generation of toxic air contaminants within 1,000 feet of sensitive receptors. It's important to note here that these determinations are largely based on the fact that future development under the specific plan is not precisely known at this time, so the EIR does include mitigation for future development that would reduce these impacts to the extent feasible. But still, since there's still a potential that future development could generate emissions that exceed thresholds established by the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, the draft EIR conservatively concludes that these impacts would be significant and unavoidable. The significant transportation impact for the specific plan is related to vehicle miles traveled, and this is a new measure of assessing transportation impacts under CEQA. It relates to the number of miles that are driven by project users. Although YouTube, the primary property owner within the specific plan, does have a robust transportation to management program, or TDM program, the EIR recognizes that future development under the plan, such as new residential development, may not be subject to YouTube's TDM program, and therefore could generate VMT in excess of established thresholds. The EIR did not identify any significant and unavoidable impacts for the Phase 1 development, which would be subject to YouTube's TDM program. Next slide, please. In accordance with CEQA, the draft EIR evaluates alternatives to the proposed project and identifies an environmentally superior alternative. The alternatives that were evaluated in the EIR include a no project alternative, which assumes no specific plan would be adopted and maintains status quo conditions on the project site. The second alternative is a residential alternative, and this residential alternative includes, I think, more than twice the number of residential units than what is proposed under, or currently permitted under the plan, and about half the office space. This alternative was determined to be the environmentally superior alternative, which again is a CEQA requirement that an EIR identify an environmentally superior alternative that's not the project. And that was largely related to the fact that it would generate less VMT by placing residential uses closer to jobs. The third alternative is the maximum height alternative. This was evaluated at the request of City Council. It essentially includes or allows for a greater density of development by increasing maximum building heights to 5 stories as compared to 3. This alternative would require a voter-approved modification to Ordinance 1284. Next slide. The purpose of tonight's meeting, as Pamela mentioned, is to receive public comments on the draft EIR for the Bay Hill specific plan and Phase 1 development. The Planning Commission is not reviewing the specific plan or the Phase 1 entitlement request tonight or making a decision on the project. One of the basic goals of CEQA is to inform government decision makers and the public of the significant environmental effects of proposed projects, and public participation is a fundamental component of the CEQA process. Lastly, I will note that the CEQA guidelines does provide direction on commenting on a draft EIR. They state that the focus of comments should be on the sufficiency of the draft EIR analysis and ways in which the project's significant effects might be avoided or mitigated, especially through alternatives or mitigation measures. And as Pamela mentioned, we will be providing written responses to all the comments received tonight in the final EIR. I believe that concludes my presentation, so I will hand it back over to Pamela.
Thank you, Heidi. So, the next step. What we're doing tonight is to take the comments from the public, and these comments, as I mentioned, will continue to be forwarded to staff until March 1st. Until March 1st, all the comments will be provided and responded in the final EIR, in addition to the draft EIR itself, the EIR Mitigation and Monitoring Program, the MMRP, which will all constitute the final EIR. When the project and the CEQA document is ready for your consideration, which is tentatively scheduled for May or June this year, the Planning Commission will get a chance to ask questions and also deliberate on the project to forward a recommendation to City Council. As I mentioned earlier, when the project is coming before you, the Planning Commission will hold a public hearing to consider making recommendations on certifying the Bay Hill Specific Final EIR, on adopting the Bay Hill Specific Plan itself, amending the general plan to provide consistency with the specific plan, and also amending the zoning ordinance to include a new Bay Hill zoning district. The Planning Commission will also be asked to approve the development agreement and approve the Phase 1 entitlement, including architectural review permit and vesting tentative map. Based on its current schedule, it is anticipated for City Council to consider the entire package for approval around November or December this year. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any question on my presentation tonight. As I mentioned earlier, tonight's presentation and the purpose of today's meeting is to take comments from the public and also the Planning Commission if you have any comments on the draft EIR. And before I conclude my presentation, I also want the Planning Commission to note that I have received one written comment from a member of public, which I will screen share and read it out loud for the record. 1 second. I have received a written comment from Alex Malendra, kind of small. This was sent to me and also City Council this afternoon around 6:41. Dear San Bruno Planning Commission, my name is Alex Malendra and I am a 27-year resident of San Bruno. I am speaking only for myself. Thank you for taking the time to hear my comments on the EIR for the Bay Hill Specific Plan. I really wish I could make my comments short. I appreciate the work the Planning Commission is doing in review of the specific plan and U2 Phase 1 development plan. There is urgency to address our growing jobs housing imbalance, and planning for more housing in the Bay Hill Specific Plan is the way to do it. It's an affordability issue, it's a climate change issue, and equity issue. In a recent City Council meeting and Daily Journal article, the City Council expressed concern, quote, in parentheses, that I admittedly disagreed with, about our upcoming RENA allotment. Well, this is the perfect opportunity to meet that allotment ahead of time. To quote a recent SPURT panel, zoning is a community adopted system. We should choose a zone for more people. We can allow for more affordable housing. It's a policy choice. Developers, even those with best intentions, only build what is allowed. We are choosing to limit ourselves and expand Bay Hill's housing allotment is one of the most crucial first steps to addressing our housing needs. It really does start right here at this moment. While we have our future RENA allotment, parenthesis, and the likelihood of us retaining the number, the pressing needs of the actual humans these numbers represent is the moral argument for why we need to allow for more homes for people. Our teachers, our unhoused population, our low-income workers, our middle-income workers, and more. The inclusion of more housing overlay zones are great additions. This is the time, the moment with the urgency, all in alignment. In the manner you can tonight, please support the residential alternative to allow for near 1,500 homes with the proposed specific plan. Additionally, please support more housing in the eastern section of the specific plan, parenthesis, close to El Camino in areas 14, 15, and 16 on the parcel map. In addition to existing plant 7 sites, parenthesis, San Bruno Avenue, for housing as well. In alignment with the environmental review, the eastern area is transit-rich, close to amenities, and ripe for incentives to build, parenthesis, both market rate and affordable homes. We cannot afford to waste this opportunity to build a brighter future for San Bruno. Thank you for your service to the Planning Commission. I truly appreciate you volunteering your time for your community. Alex Malendra. For those of you who are interested, I'll be more than happy to forward the email. Mr. Chair, before I conclude, I did want to mention that I got hold of Commissioner Johnson. She is dealing with a family emergency at this moment, but as City Attorney mentioned that we can proceed with the item for the Planning Commission to take public comments. And also, I do want to ask Mr. Chair that I see a large number of attendees for this item with very few hands raised. So do let us know if you would like to take or schedule a health break in between if the public comments go on too long. With that said, I'll conclude my presentation and let me know if you have any comments on the EIR.
Thank you, Pamela.
So I'm sorry if I may, Mr. Chairperson. I apologize. So because of the lack of a quorum, the only thing that the Planning Commission can do tonight, as I indicated earlier, is to receive public comments, and I see that there are 2 hands raised at the moment. So because of the lack of a quorum, there is at this time not an opportunity to ask questions and receive commentary from staff and have a discussion about the EIR. So I would go directly to public comment and then close this item out once the public comment is concluded and then move on to the next item. As Pamela indicated, the matter will be coming back for a formal public hearing at a later date after staff responds in writing to all of the comments that have been received, both oral comments and the ones that were in writing.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. As always, your advice is appreciated. Okay. In that case, we'll open up public comment. And once again, for Zoom users at home, use the raise your hand button. And for the folks who are on the phone, please press *9, and you'll be given 3 minutes to speak. All right, Madeline?
Dean Moser, I'm going to bring you in the room.
Thank you. My name is Dean Moser. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm the representative for 801-851 Traeger. I have a couple of questions. If an owner in the Bay Hill project doesn't make any changes whatsoever to their property, are they subject to any fees or taxes, such as the mellow roofs or community benefit fees? That's number one. Number two, if Bay Hill 1111 doesn't use any of its 158 residential units, can another parcel use those units? And then next item, if the height limit is increased, due to an election, of course, or a vote, table 5-4, where the height limit is increased to 5 stories, the number of residential units would increase to 1,070. First, the reference is to square feet and should be to dwelling units. And second, which parcels are they allocated to? I would like to make the comment too. We've done a feasibility study on residential homes, and the allocation of 205 homes doesn't make it economic. We had the economic break-even at 305 homes. That's just a point of interest. And I got to tell you, I think you guys have done a great job, the Planning Commission and the City Council. This is a fantastic project, and I look forward to it moving ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Second, we have Fong Li. I'm going to allow you to talk and bring you in the room. Can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Fong Li, and I'm a
Something's wrong here.
Ms. Fong Li, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Let me begin again. My name is Fong Li, and I'm a resident in San Bruno. I believe that the Bayview project site locates at a very strategic location adjacent to Bayview Shopping Center within walking distance to Tanforan Mall, Caltrain, and BART. This site has the potential to address not only YouTube's office space need, but also the San Bruno's housing crisis. I'm here to support the residential alternatives, which allows up to 1,500 new residential units. This is almost half of the targeted RENA numbers for next cycle. These residential alternatives not only achieve all of the current project objectives, but also provide 12% more impervious areas. This means more green open space giving back to the community. This means better. Even though there's less office area provided with this alternative, I believe this is justified. As you can see, what this pandemic has shown us is that we don't need that much office space. We are moving toward a new working style where it's mostly remote and we don't need that much space. This is more sustainable. We need to focus more on housing. Also, integrating more residential and open space at Bayview would activate this area not only as a major business location during daytime, but also as a friendly and charming urban area that's full of activities for family at night. This is exactly the goal of San Bruno, as mentioned in the general plan and the specific plan. So I therefore strongly urge you to support and approve the residential alternatives, which increasing up to 1,500 new residential units on the Bayview project site. Thank you.
Okay, Jules Bouet, I'm going to bring you in the room to talk. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. So my name is Jules Bouet. I live in the Rollingwood neighborhood here in San Bruno, and I work here as a teacher. We very much need to house workers, both public servants, the growing number of YouTube employees, and the service workers and other people who work here in San Bruno. The housing shortage and high housing prices are keeping many of my colleagues far away. One of my colleagues at the local school district has to commute here from Brentwood when she is not distance working. And that's a lot of traffic and air pollution happening to the city of San Bruno and the Bay Area. For both residents and out-of-town workers, about 7 out of 10 or more drive single occupancy vehicles coming in when they work. So with that in mind, and that the importance of reducing vehicle miles traveled in our environment with sea level rise, air quality problems, climate change, forest fires, other threats, San Bruno needs to be a part of the solution to this housing crisis, this climate crisis, by also addressing the housing crisis. And they can do that through constructing housing here and not increasing the imbalance by just building more office space without building very much housing. So with that in mind, I think the Bay Hill specific plan is a choice spot for constructing housing because it is urbanized and it's an ideal place for high density development that fits into the community character of that part of town. And we also have a Reno allocation of 3,000 new units plus a backlog of 600 of the 1,100 units from the old Reno. So for all these reasons, I think we should most strongly consider the residential plan of around 1,500 units to meet the housing needs of our community. It also only reduces the housing capacity in this draft report by 700,000 square feet to 1.7 million square feet, so it has almost as much office space as that. So we could also consider the high density alternative if voters modify Ordinance 1284
But in the meantime, I think we should most strongly consider the residential alternative here. I also encourage you to relocate the housing towards the east side of the project so that residents can access transit more easily. And that convenience increases ridership, reduces driving. So thank you for considering the residential alternative and take a bite out of the housing crisis and our RENA goals. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more hand. Aros Harmon, I'm going to bring you in the room to talk. Can you hear us?
Hi, this is actually Plymouth Ansberg's. I'm using Aros' Zoom account.
Great.
Hi, so this is Plymouth Ansberg's. I live in San Bruno. I've lived here for almost 4 years now. I work for Google. I usually work at our campus down in Mountain View, but I do occasionally work out of YouTube's offices in San Bruno, which is convenient because it's part of the same company. So I have some familiarity with usage of that space. My experience with working there is that traffic is really not a problem, and this is an area that could absorb a lot more housing, especially if some of that housing is able to be used by employees who actually work, people who are able to live and work there. I know a couple of YouTube folks who live in the Shelter Creek apartments and are able to walk to work, and that's great, and I would just like to really encourage there to be more thought towards increasing the amount of housing there. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair Biasotti, I do not see any more. We have a hand raised. Hold on a moment. Doug, I'm going to bring you in the room to talk.
More organized if I'd had more than 10 seconds to think about it, but that's okay. I said a thing.
Hello, Doug. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for your support on this matter. We are the owners of 801 Traeger and 851 Traeger, and I support everybody on the line tonight in regards to the residential housing. We are a strong proponent of the additional housing on our site. Obviously, there's going to be ways you're going to adjust the housing and the percentages and everything else. It sounds like a lot of the callers, like Jules, and we have Alexandra, presenting the east side of the project, but we're on the west side, and we are willing to support the housing needs of the community. And I just want to present that to all of you that there is a need and a crisis out there for San Bruno, and we're in support of the higher density, the increased height limit. And we, from the initial 573 multifamily to now 1,500, I think that's a good start. And I think the community itself needs that, especially in the pandemic, where we're finding, as owners of offices and office buildings, that yes, people are staying at home, and yes, people are looking for the additional residential sites where they can work close to their jobs. So I just want to present this to you, and we're very, very happy with what you're doing. We've been part of this project since 2017, and we've been following the group, and we support everything you're doing. So thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Robert Esminger, I'm going to bring you in the room to talk. Can you hear us?
There we go. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Go ahead.
Robert Esminger. I live at 712 Hensley Avenue, and I'm not sure income people who want to live here. It might work well for the people who work for YouTube and by extension Google, but I don't think this housing is going to be particularly inexpensive, which is the main problem that people have with living here. I do have one question additionally about it, and that is, since it's recently come up that they would like to add an additional tax or fee on homeowners to help rebuild the stormwater system in San Bruno, will this fee also apply to this development? And I think that's pretty much what I have to say for tonight. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. At this time, I no longer see any hands raised to talk.
All right. Before we close out this, we'll give everybody one more chance. It's for the Zoom users, it's the raise your hand button, and for the folks on the phone, it's *9. So is anyone else out there wanting to speak to the commission?
Not at this time, Chair.
Very good. Can we get a motion from the commission to close public comment, please?
A motion to close public comment.
Thank you. Commissioner Madden, can we get a second, please?
Yeah, second.
Okay, and Madeline, can we get a roll call vote, please, to close public comment?
Yes. Chair Biasotti?
Aye.
Commissioner Lethen?
Aye.
Commissioner Madden?
Aye.
Commissioner Morgan? Commissioner Johnson? And Vice Chair Harmon is recused.
Question for the city attorney. At this point, do I need to close out this item, or can we just move to the next?
Just move on to the next item.
Thank you. Can we bring back our commissioners into the conversation, please?
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right, welcome back, everyone. Okay, next item is item 5, items from staff.
Yes, that was all the excitement. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we're moving on to item 5. I just need volunteers for the March 11th Architectural Review Committee. Thank you, Commissioner Madden. Thank you, Commissioner Morgan. Do I see a third hand? Thank you, Commissioner Lethen. Thank you. I got them all.
I can be an alternative. I don't have any conflict, but I think I served in the last 2, so I don't want to.
Sure. Well, thank you, Vice Chair Harmon. I'll note you as the backup.
Thank you, everyone. Pamela, did we have anything else for item 5?
Nope, that's it for tonight.
So item 6 is public comment for items not on the agenda. So before we adjourn, are there any members of the public that wish to make a comment at this time? Once again, Zoom users, raise your hand, and those folks at home, start 9 on the phone. Madeline, do we have anyone?
We don't have anyone.
Okay. Item 7, items from members and subcommittee reports. Do we have anything from anyone tonight? Nope. All right. I guess with that, we'll move on to item 8, which is adjournment. The next regular meeting of the Planning Commission will be held on March 16th, 2021. We are adjourned. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.